This is the President of the Republic of Korea. The name is the Moon Jae-in. South Korea, the fourth largest economy on the entire continent of Asia and the 11th largest in the world, a pretty remarkable feat for the country of only 51 million people by comparison the average population of top 15 economies in the world in 265 million. In fact, only Canada and historical superpowers Spain have lower population and sit above South Korea. On the GDP scale, it is even more impressive considering war broke out just 5 years after Korea attained independence from Japan after 36 years of occupation rule. When the World War yet to recover from World War II, the Korean War took the life of a further 5 million people. At one point, America's 5-star general and commander-in-chief of the United Nations Command for the Korea War, Douglas MacArthur, remarked, "This country has no future, this country will not be restored." After 100 years, South Korea today, the average American made just twice as much as South Korea. How did this nation flee the page and free itself from the shackles of poverty in such short period of time relative what other nations had been able to accomplish? Well, there was a lot of frigate and revolver right after the war. South Korea government budget was financed 90% by frigate, a very scary position to be in for any country military. Government soon took over and it came up with some pretty sound economic plans. But as the government did it, parts of big reason for South Korea recover success.
Each of these conglomerates is referred to as a chamber. To be clear, this cooperation were not new. Some had existed for several decades but were not really in an environment where they could thrive. There was the war, the Japanese occupation, the poverty to poor economic policies. In the 60s, however, the government developed a blueprint where industrializing the country will start a deep cooperation with the conglomerate. The political will and sense of engineer that turned South Korea into a major industrial player exporting less was the one thing the large conglomerates with on their way to global domination, and it was not all talk on the part of the government. These conglomerates were encouraged to borrow from foreign creditors, with the government guaranteeing the loans. Foreign loans borrowed by the government were even at times rumored to have been diverted to conglomerate from their intended purpose.
They were initially making light product and consumer goods, were now empowered to enter the major leagues and start manufacturing heavy machinery, defense product and chemical. By the 1980s, the conglomerates had gone so big that they single-handedly turned South Korea trade deficits into a surplus. At this time, they had also outgrown government assistance. When the 1990s came, South Korea was considered an intelligent nation, having risen from the age just 14 years period for the prospective children born at the height of Korea War. So South Korea transformed from a third world nation to a first world nation. While they were still in their prime working age, very few countries have ever achieved this before or since. The 5 biggest of these chipos are Samsung, Hyundai.
Samsung started as a small trading company exporting fruit, dried fish, and over the decades diversified into almost everything: processing, insurance, defense, retail, shipbuilding, construction, actually. Today, we mostly know Samsung as the largest mobile phone maker in the world, but its other businesses are pretty impressive on their own. For instance, Samsung Heavy Industries is the 7th largest shipbuilder in the world. Samsung Engineering appears in the 20 largest construction companies in the world. Samsung also owns an advertising agency that is one of the world's largest the electronic segment of. The company is however still the biggest alone hit sale of $222 billion.
The success of the company has brought a lot of weight for the founding family. Today, Samsung is run by second and third generation member of the Lee family, and this has elevated them to be the second richest family. They are worth more than $40 billion, and according to Forbes, LG is another of the big inquiries dominant in South Korea. It was founded back in 1947 and is today not just one of the largest companies in the Asia country, but one of the largest in the world. The entire LNG initially stood for Lucky Gold Star, but that has since been abbreviated to Life. Today, LG has various subsidiaries including electronic display, chemical, solar energy, healthcare. In 2018, the company reported revenue upwards of $1,047 billion. The role of Hyundai in the development of South Korea cannot also go unappreciated. This mega conglomerate has, however, the years split into various companies, all bearing the Hyundai name. These include Hyundai Motor, Hyundai Steel, Hyundai Heavy Industry, Hyundai Engineering, Hyundai Capital. If all these were managed into a single company, today Hyundai would likely to the biggest conglomerate in South Korea, overtaking Samsung without these married companies that have grown to become global behemoth. South Korea would be a totally different country. Today, the large GDP of the country is beholden to them, and they employ hundreds of thousands of people. Economic will remain divided of whether this is the right way to develop a country and lead the prosperity, but it has worked in South Korea.
The economy of South Korea is a highly developed mixed economy dominated by family-owned conglomerates called chaebol. It is the fourth largest GDP in ASEAN and the 12th largest in the world. South Korea is known of its particular rise from one of the poorest countries in the world to a developed, high-income country in just a few generations. This economic growth has been described as the miracle on the Han River, which has brought South Korea to the rank of elite countries in the OECD and the G20. South Korea still remains one of the fastest growing developed countries in the world following the Great Recession. It is included in the group of next 11 countries that will dominate the global economy in the middle of the 21st century.
Seeing eyes of mine, what do you feel beside? I don't know where we're going.